Hi guys, welcome to my classroom. I'm in A204. So I'm going to start with showing you guys just the layout of my classroom from this corner. As you can see, I have my students sit in groups in tables of 4, and I love it just because I naturally have students work together all the time anyways, so it's just easier for them to already be sitting together. Also, I teach AVID, and a huge AVID strategy is to have students in groups, so it works out really well for my AVID kids. And one thing that I like about my classroom is the size of it. It's pretty spacious, so I have room not only for students to sit in groups, but room for students to walk around and to just have space. So I like that a lot. So I'm going to take you over here now. So another thing I like about my classroom is the storage space I have. I have two big cabinets, one right here and then one over there, although I wish I had more. But here is what I like to call the student center. So this is just for the students. They're allowed to leave their textbooks. I have dictionaries and a ton of magazines for them to read through whenever there's downtime. And this is their center. So whenever they need to use a stapler or a hole punch, have a marker, it's for them to use, so that way they don't touch my stuff. Over here I have what's called the late book. So a way that I classroom manage is when students come tardy to class. Students know that when they come to class, they first need to come and sign in here. So they write their name, the date, and then the reason why they were tardy. So it's just an easy way for me to manage who's here and who's not and why they're tardy. Over here I have a mail, I like to call it my mailbox. So if students have a question or a concern or wanted to say something in class but didn't have an opportunity to, they're allowed to leave it here. At the end of the day, I'll collect the mail, take a look at it, write them a note back, and then place it back in the mailbox for them. So that's been super useful and fun at the same time too. I have some of my students' work displayed here. I have a lot of wall space, so I tend to have my students do a lot so that way I can fill up the walls. Here's kind of just kind of a random wall that I have. I have over here tips for studying and how to annotate. So I'll have like random handouts on the wall for them. Some work that my AVID kids did, as you can see, Channel Islands, what. Always promoting LGBTQ, so I have a flag over here. And from Kaya's class last semester, for those that had Kaya, you can see I have one of her pins here. This is the information board, I like to call it. So students, this is where they can check the agenda. So I always have the agenda for the day there. I have a quote of the week. Usually my students will write a quote. They're always really excited. Up on the wall, this is where I have kind of my rules, I guess if you say, and it's just stating things that I want them to do. So students will, maintain an open mind, exhibit responsibility, become lifelong learners, things like that. So I have it along the top over here, so students are always reminded of that. Here is some of the technology in my classroom. So we have an Elmo projector. I wish I knew how to use it more. We've been trained a few times, but I'm just really not tech savvy, so I don't use it as much. But I definitely use the projector over here. So I'm always displaying things under that. That I don't even know what that is. I've never used it. This is part of the Elmo, so you can do fun stuff and you can highlight and do random stuff with that, but I don't know how to use it, so I just keep it simple and old school. Over here is my homework board, and I also at the bottom have classroom reminders and events. So students, if they're in clubs, have an opportunity to come and promote their club and what they're doing. And then of course I have my homework there. So I teach English and then I teach two sections of AVID. This is my corner, AKA my second little home. So I have pictures of my family and friends just because I want my students to, understand that I'm a real person, that I have a life. And so they're always really interested to come over and to, take a look at the pictures that I have, and it's just a way to bond. So yeah, this is my desk. And another feature that I like about my room is the view. I have a really awesome view of part of the campus. This is the quad area, and that's the gym over there where it says Arcadia Apaches. So it's nice because if I have my students work outside, I can stalk them and look outside the window, which is always fun. So I like that. This is for my TA sits. So I have TAs in my first and second period, so they're able to sit here. I have my mini fridge. And then over here is just another view of the classroom. I have really big empty walls, so actually this Friday they're going to be turning something in for me, my students, so I'll be able to put their work up. And yeah, here's some other student work for you. And they did a project. Some of my students did projects last semester, so I have the projects there. And yeah, so this is my classroom. Again, wish I had a little bit more storage space, but overall, I really do love my classroom. I definitely feel like I've made it homey, and you know, my students have their work up here, and it's spacious, and I love it. So thank you.